Hey, I just wanted to make this quick little video to tell you the one thing about the Korg Monologue that is going to throw you off. If you're thinking about buying this, there's one big issue about this. Besides the things people have talked about, there's one thing not really anyone says or has mentioned, but I think it's a very big deal about this synth. So notice that it has two VCOs, VCO1, VCO2. VCO1 is a lot simpler. It only has your waveform select and then the shape knob. VCO2 has the same thing, but also it has an octave lever and a pitch knob. Now this sync and ring modulator switch affects both, so it's irrelevant. Now here's the thing that they did that messed up. Alright, look. You see how this more complicated VCO has a sawtooth, a triangle, and a noise? Whereas the less complicated has a sawtooth, triangle, and square. Why would they put a noise source which cannot be affected by the pitch knob and which cannot be affected by the octave lever? Why would they put that on VCO2? And then why would they put the square on here? Why wouldn't they just have switched the noise source and the square to opposite VCOs? That way we could, correct me if I'm wrong, but change the pitch of the square and change the octave of the square. Wouldn't that make sense to do? Were they purposely giving this big flaw to this keyboard to make you want to buy another one? I don't know why they would do this. This would have gave this keyboard, it seems like it's only a little bit, but it would have gave this a lot more depth. So much more depth just by doing that. Now, I mean, if I really had my way, I'd have square on both and have noise as a separate oscillator, but we can't have everything. But yeah, tell me if any of y'all know why that they put the noise source on VCO2 and they put the square on VCO1 when it should have been the opposite way around. I've always wondered this about this keyboard. It's the one thing that's always kind of made me very mad. Besides, I mean, the very bare bones controls. But anyways, that's just the weirdest thing about this. If you're thinking about buying this, you should know this in advance. That you cannot, well, the VCO1 and VCO2 should be switched. They shouldn't be the way they are. If you're thinking about buying a beginner analog mono synth, I really wouldn't start with the Monologue. Now, I don't have one. I do want to get one eventually. But I would start with the Bass Station 2 if you want a big palette of sounds and customization. Now, if you don't care about that, you want a really straightforward, easy to use mono synth on a budget, go with like a Micro Brute. They're pretty great. This is almost, it's almost like if you had a poly synth, just one voice of a poly synth. That's the way this sounds to me. Now, it might have a little bit more bite to it than a Monologue, but it really just, it doesn't just nail what you want from a mono synth. So unless you just have a lot of money or you really like the tone of this, I would avoid this as your first mono synth. Micro Brute for ease of use, Bass Station 2 for all the features and sound palette, Neutron if you really want to dive deep with the semi-modular aspect. That's actually what I'm going to be getting soon, is a Neutron. Let me see what else we have here. There's a few other affordable monos, like the Micro Freak. I mean, it's kind of a mono. But really, I would start with something like the Bass Station 2 or the Micro Brute. Monologue is bleh. It's fun, but it doesn't really scream mono synth to me. Well, that's all for this. Oh, I do have this. Here's another little mono synth. This is another one that definitely does not scream mono synth. And although this looks so much simpler than this, I think there really is a lot more you can do with this guy. You just gotta figure him out. I haven't had time yet. But yeah. I hope you found this useful, and I'll see you in the next video.